Hello, and welcome to B-Movie Euphoria's Reviews from the Pile. Alex and I found a huge amount of tapes from a guy's personal video store collection, meaning he basically had a shitload of tapes, and he would rent out those tapes to like locals and anyone that wanted to come in his very nice basement. I was going to say creepy basement, but it was actually really nice.
Really well.
Very well furnished.
Well furnished,
yeah.
Yes.
And so we got all these tapes. We got to go through them. A lot of them I haven't seen. I would say the majority I haven't seen. But today's movie, we're honoring a fallen hero, a guy that we just lost recently, and we both love him a lot. I love Wilford Brimley. So today's movie is the 1987
End of the Line.
End of the Line. I was really surprised by this because it's got such a kind of a straightforward premise that you wouldn't think would lend itself to a lot of like interesting moments. Okay, so the plot is, well, first, let's say who's all in this, because we have an all-star cast in this movie. We've got Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley is the star, so you know this is going to be special.
Yeah, you know there's star power when your top, cast member is Wilford Brimley. Anyway, his best buddy is Levon Helm, who I was really surprised by how actually great he is in this movie, because he's actually a country singer. And a little bit of tidbit, the song Levon by Elton John was named after him, but it has nothing to do with it. The Elton John's songwriter was like, that's a great name. We could make a song about that. Anyway, Levon's really great. There's also Kevin Bacon is in this. Holly Hunter is in this. Bob Balaban, who is fucking amazing in this movie. I love Bob Balaban so much in this movie. And Mary Steenburgen, who is always great. She's just fantastic.
And Clint Howard.
Oh, and Clint Howard. I don't know why I thought.
He was sharing scenes with Bob Balaban.
Bob Balaban.
Bob Balaban a lot.
So the reason I know Bob Balaban is because he's also a film director, and he's made some of the greatest comedy horror movies. Parents with Randy Quaid, about like cannibalistic parents in like the early 1960s kind of era. And then My Boyfriend's Back, which is a great zombie comedy. Anyway, this movie, we got to get to this because we don't have a lot of time because Joe Bob is about to start. This movie is
in this video.
Yeah, exactly. So this movie is about two railroad workers, Levon Helm and Wilford. I think in the movie they're called
Haney
and
Leo.
And they just kind of live in the good old life, and they wake up in the morning and then they talk about sandwiches for about the first so that's one thing that's weird about this movie. I never see anybody working on the railroad. This movie is about railroad workers. I think I saw Levon hit a thing with a thing, but that was it. Anyway, so these two guys work on the railroad, and there are all these rumors kind of circulating about the railroad being shut down and then turned into what was it, like an
air freight yard.
Yeah. So basically,
they're going from rail freight to air freight.
Yes. So this is not a good thing, because apparently when this happens, none of the workers that worked at the rail yard can transfer over to... Anyway, so we get they actually give some good... You get to know the characters and you get to know the town, and you really kind of like everybody, because it's just really... It's fun. It feels... A lot of this movie feels... Or a lot of the dialogue in this film feels just like off the cuff or like improv. Definitely Levon Helm, I feel like he came up with a lot of his own lines, because a lot of the conversations are just kind of meandering, like they talk about sandwiches so much at the beginning of this movie. I think Wilford's like, your wife gonna make you another deviled egg sandwich? And then Levon's like, nah, I like peanut butter and jelly.
I'm gonna make one.
Yeah, I'm gonna make one. And I'm saying this, and it sounds like this movie is boring as fuck. But it's not. So anyway, they all go to work one day. Oh, Kevin Bacon is Wilford Brimley's son-in-law. So they're all sitting around in the like commons area of the rail yard, and then boom, the doors open up, and there's like some rock and roll music, and then Kevin Bacon and his best buddy are in there, and they come in and they're like getting bets from everybody, and that's when we're just like, we're treated to Wilford's grumpiness.
Yeah.
Because he's so, I feel like Wilford is and always will be known for the best grumpy old man like that ever lived.
Well, he wasn't in the movie Grumpy Old Men.
He was?
I don't think he was.
Oh no, he wasn't. That was Walter Matthau
and
and Jack Lemmon. But he's so good at being ornery. Like, you just look at him and he looks like he's pissed off. He looks like he's gonna come behind you and hit you with a rolled up newspaper. But he's such a good actor that even though he's a grumpy old man, you still care about him and you still care about what he's trying to do. So Kevin Bacon and his buddy come in and they're making all this noise, and Wilford gets all pissed off, and so him and Levon go to a bar, and Levon's like, I never seen you drink 3 beers before. You must be upset about something. And so they're both, more Wilford, but they're both kind of worried about the airport taking over and not having jobs, obviously. And there's some other drama about Kevin Bacon and his buddy.
They have like everybody owes Kevin Bacon money.
Yes.
And he's not willing to forgive the debt of
his
best buddy.
Yeah, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. So they all go into work like the next day, and it's shut down. Everything's shut down, and basically says, there's a sign on there that says, you guys are all out of the job because things are changing, and just, go home. So everybody else is just like completely downtrodden by this and just feel awful. But Levon and Wilford, mostly Wilford, are like, well, hell no. Hell no. I'm gonna get down. Okay, he doesn't say that, but
he does do a rousing speech for the patrons of the bar to inspire them to go on a wild goose chase to Chicago to speak to the man who done did this and took their jabs.
Come in! Okay, so we have pissed off Wilford. We have a train yard shut down, and Wilford's like, we're going to take this train and we're going to drive it all the way to Chicago, and we're going to demand from the chairman of the board that they give us our jobs back, and they start up the train company, and then everything's going to be fine. And so it's not a really well thought out plan, because they're stealing a train to like convince somebody that it's kind of not a great plan.
It's a movie plan.
Yes, it's a movie plan, and it kind of, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief, because like once they find out that they've stolen that train, they can easily just kind of stop them, and they do try at one point to stop them, but that's the only time they try from Arkansas to Chicago to stop them at all. And like a cop pulls his car over the tracks, and they're like, well, I'll stop. I'll definitely stop. Mm-hmm.
And Wilford and Levon are like, you think we should stop? Wilford giggles as he increases the speed of the train.
Wilford is having such a good time in this movie, and I feel it makes you feel so happy about it because you can really tell that he like believed in this movie and he loved what he was doing. So that kind of like excitement about a movie is infectious. And also Levon is just amazing in this movie. So they somehow they go through the cop car. We don't see it crashing or anything. We just see the cop car
cleaved in half.
Completely, neatly, perfectly cut in half. What not a lot of people know is that cop cars, if hit on by a head-on collision by a train, they do have a safety catch that just cleaves the police car in half. That's what happens. Sorry, that's science. Anyway, so they keep going, and nobody really tries to stop them, and then we start seeing the other side of this. We see Bob Balaban and Clint Howard, who are two... Okay, so Bob Balaban is the president of the company. He's not the chairman, but he's the president. And Clint Howard is his like assistant, executive assistant. And these guys are so fucking funny. Like, Clint Howard to a lesser degree. Clint Howard's always going to be funny just...
Because he's Clint Howard.
Yeah, he's Clint Howard. But Bob Balaban is so good in this movie. His choice for what he was going to do with his voice, I couldn't not laugh every time he talked. Like, just the way he pronounces anything is hilarious, and I couldn't place what kind of regional accent it was, but it was so fucking goofy. And Bob Balaban is just such a funny guy. He's been in like all of the Christopher Guest movies. He has this very kind of dry, straightforward thing, but in this movie, he's so over the top with this accent. He's like, these are real
America men.
And they deserve our respect. But really, he is the bad guy of this movie because he basically decided to make the rail yard into a airport, what have you, without telling the chairman, who is his father-in-law. So he's kind of like trying to sneak it by him that he's shutting down the Arkansas Railroad or whatever. So we get a lot of Balaban and Clint Howard, just great goofiness, and then them kind of like formulating a plan because they find out that
Brimley and company are heading their way.
Yeah, they're heading straight for him. So I don't really understand Balaban's plan.
Well, he thinks it's good PR to just let them come in, and he thinks he thinks that he could just give Wilford Brimley a check and think everything will be fine. But oh no, Wilford does not give up that easily.
So they're coming into town, and they see that there's this huge like fanfare waiting for them to... Okay, we have 2 more minutes, so we have to finish this. Okay, so there's a big old fanfare waiting for them, but who's in the train? It's not Wilford and it's not Levon. It's a drunk that they picked up on the way, and he just falls flat on his face. Anyway, so they manage to sneak into the building. They pass... Okay, they get
Bob Balaban gives them the runaround.
Yes, Bob Balaban gives them the runaround. They finally get to the chairman, whose name is Clinton? Yes, his name is Clinton, which is crazy because this movie was like dedicated to Bill Clinton because Arkansas, yada yada. Anyway, it's so good. It's so funny.
We're not going to spoil the rest for you.
No, it's just great. Really, Kevin Bacon and Holly Hunter are kind of lost in the minutia of everything else in this movie, but they're also very good. This movie is great. I highly recommend it. It might be on YouTube just because I don't think...
about it?
Nobody cares about this movie, but I care about it. Levon Helm is amazing. Wilford Brimley, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
I
End
don't
of the
know.
line.
Anything else you want?
This was actually a rental tape, apparently.
Yeah.
So there wasn't anything before or after the movie other than like studio identification. So, next time we'll pick a tape that actually has stuff recorded from cable.
But as far as this one goes, it was incredible. It was like a lot of just Levon and Brimley just talking, and just and they have such good chemistry in this movie.
You'd think something like that would be boring, but unlike a movie like Stalled, where that's basically the same sort of dialogue and interactions, but it's not good.
Yeah.
This just works better.
It really does.
Yeah.
Anyway, we gotta watch Joe Bob. So thanks for watching. Reviews from the Pile.
B movie for you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.